Opening hook tension. Most people believe success is a straight line. You pick a dream, chase it hard, and one day you arrive. But the truth? The line is never straight. It's jagged, confusing, and full of wrong turns. What if the path you're on right now, the one that feels uncertain, disconnected, even disappointing, is exactly the one leading you to greatness? What if the moment you thought your story was over was actually the moment it began? Harrison Ford didn't plan to be a movie star. He was a carpenter hammering wood in quiet rooms, building cabinets for other people's dreams. Vera Wang wasn't born a designer. She was a failed athlete. Arnold Schwarzenegger was told his accent would destroy his chances in Hollywood. Julia Child didn't cook until she was nearly 40. And Samuel L. Jackson, one of the most recognized actors alive, didn't make it big until his mid-40s. So maybe success isn't about when you start. Maybe it's about never stopping. Stay till the end, because the lesson hidden inside these stories might just rewrite what you think success really means. Montage trailer style teaser. A man covered in sawdust, working alone, unaware he's building the future face of Star Wars. A young woman crying in an empty rink, her Olympic dream gone, not realizing she'll soon redefine fashion forever. A muscle-bound immigrant repeating English lines until 2 a.m. Mocked, ridiculed, but unstoppable. A 40-year-old woman stirring sauce in a small Paris kitchen, her heart exploding with joy at the discovery of her life's true calling. A man rehearsing lines backstage, battling addiction, debt, and doubt, about to deliver a performance that would make him immortal. These are not stories of luck. They are stories of becoming, because greatness rarely shows up on time. It shows up when you're finally ready for it. Lesson 1. Harrison Ford, the carpenter who built his destiny. There was a time when Harrison Ford had given up on acting. He had small roles, a line here, a face there, but Hollywood had closed its doors. So he picked up a hammer. He worked as a carpenter to feed his family. He built cabinets, doors, furniture, and with every nail, he built something stronger, character. He was patient, humble, skilled. He didn't know it yet, but he was mastering something Hollywood didn't teach: authenticity. One afternoon, he was hired to install cabinets in a film studio office. That office belonged to George Lucas. Years later, Lucas remembered that quiet, grounded carpenter and called him in to read lines for a small space movie called Star Wars. Open Loop 1. During that audition, Harrison did something unplanned, something that made George Lucas stop, stare, and realize he wasn't watching an actor, he was witnessing Han Solo. We'll come back to that moment. For now, remember this: when life closes the door to your dream, don't stop building. Keep crafting yourself, because even detours can be divine design. Lesson 2. Vera Wang. Failure becomes fabric. Vera Wang trained her whole life for one goal: the U.S. Olympic figure skating team. But when she failed to qualify, everything she had worked for collapsed. Imagine that. Years of dedication, endless hours of practice, and then silence. She could have disappeared. Instead, she changed direction. She entered the world of fashion, starting at Vogue as a low-level assistant. For 17 years, she climbed the ladder. She gave her all, and then rejection again. She was passed over for editor-in-chief. 17 years of devotion, gone in one announcement. Open Loop 2. What she did next, at age 40, would not only rewrite her destiny, but redefine what timing means forever. Her story reminds us, sometimes life breaks your dream, so you can build the one that fits your soul. Lesson 3. Arnold Schwarzenegger, reinventing the impossible. Arnold came from a tiny village in Austria. He had a heavy accent, limited English, and a body the film industry called too strange. But Arnold saw what no one else could see: a vision of himself that already existed in the future. He didn't listen to laughter. He didn't wait for permission. He simply worked. First, he became the best bodybuilder in the world. Then, he studied the art of acting. He watched, learned, adapted. Every identity became fuel for the next. Open Loop 3. There's one mental strategy Arnold used, a psychological secret that made reinvention effortless. And every legend in this video unknowingly used it too. We'll uncover it soon. For now, understand this: you don't have to chase one path forever. You can create new ones. Lesson 4. Julia Child, The Power of Late Beginnings. Julia Child didn't cook. Not in her 20s, not in her 30s. In fact, she once said, I was 32 when I started cooking. Up until then, I just ate. But when she moved to France with her husband, she tasted food that awakened her heart. So in her late 30s, she enrolled in culinary school, the only woman in her class. She struggled, failed, and kept going. Her classmates were faster, younger. But Julia didn't compete. She learned. At 49, she published her first cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. It was a masterpiece. At 51, she launched her first TV show. She became the world's most beloved chef because she made people believe that learning could start anytime. Her laughter, her warmth, her imperfection, they made cooking human again. Julia proved. It's never too late to find what sets your soul on fire. Lesson 5. Samuel L. Jackson, Turning Pain into Power. Samuel L. Jackson spent decades as a stage actor. He wasn't famous. He wasn't rich. He was struggling and silently fighting addiction. He hit rock bottom. He checked himself into rehab. And when he came out, he made a promise. He would pour all that pain, all that truth into his art. That decision changed everything. Every role, every performance became charged with fire. By the time Pulp Fiction came along, he was 46 years old, and finally, the world saw what years of pain had forged. A man of raw power. The more they told me no, he said, the louder I became. His pain became his presence. His scars became his signature. Because pain doesn't just break you, it builds depth. And depth is where greatness lives. Open loop payoffs, the hidden keys revealed. Harrison Ford's secret moment. During his Star Wars audition, Harrison got frustrated. He interrupted the reading and said, "Look, George, that's not how people talk. It wasn't planned, it was real." George Lucas saw authenticity, not acting. That truth made Ford unforgettable. Lesson. The world doesn't reward performance. It rewards authenticity. Vera Wang's breakthrough. At 40, preparing for her wedding, Vera couldn't find a dress she liked. So she designed her own. That one act of frustration became the foundation of a global fashion empire. Lesson. When the world doesn't offer what you need, create it yourself. Arnold's reinvention principle. He called it identity stacking. He never erased who he was, he added layers. Bodybuilder plus actor plus politician equals icon. Lesson. Don't start over. Build upward. Your past isn't a prison, it's raw material for your next version. Final payoff, core message. Every story you've heard today shares one truth. Success doesn't come to those who start early. It comes to those who stay in motion. There's no deadline on destiny, no expiration date on greatness. The people who make it aren't the ones who had a perfect plan. They're the ones who kept walking through imperfect ones. Every rejection, every detour was a preparation disguised as pain. The moments that broke you are the same moments that built you. So don't rush your story. Don't envy someone else's timeline. The longer it takes, the deeper your roots grow. And deep roots create storms that can't be shaken. Practical blueprint, turning detours into destiny. 1. Treat waiting as training. The delay isn't punishment, it's preparation. 2. Stay in motion. Harrison Ford kept building furniture, not because he had to, but because it kept his spirit alive. 3. Transform failure into fabric. Vera Wang's rejection created her empire. Let your disappointment drive innovation. 4. Stack your identities. Use every version of yourself. Nothing you've learned is wasted. 5. Don't erase your pain, use it. Samuel L. Jackson's power came from truth, not perfection. 6. Redefine late. You're not late, you're being layered. Emotional closing, the final scene. One day, you'll look back and realize the dots all connect. That the jobs you hated, the dreams that failed, the moments you thought you were done, were all the stepping stones to something breathtakingly right. Success isn't a straight road. It's a mosaic. Each piece broken, misplaced, forgotten, becomes part of a masterpiece you couldn't see while you were building it. So if you're still waiting, still wandering, remember this. The delay is not your defeat. It's the universe whispering, keep going. You're not lost. You're becoming. Because success doesn't belong to the early, it belongs to the ready. And your story, your beautiful, unpredictable human story, is right on time. End message on screen. Your path may be unexpected, but it's leading somewhere extraordinary.